Leaguers, welcome to the Spectacular Spoiler League. I'm the Pandan Superman, the mayor of Hype City, HazyRome, and as always, I'm joined by the Gotham Knight, the Prime Minister of Post-Production, DeepBoyce. And today we're here for another edition of the Gifted Weekly One-Shot, and we are talking about episode 9, entitled outfoX. We're here to give you our top 3 power rankings and our top 3 bum asses for this week. Let me explain this before we get into this. So, instead of us each having a separate list, myself and DeepBoyce having our own separate lists, we're going to combine it together. So this is both of our top 3 power rankings and top 3 bum asses. DeepBoyce,
yes,
hit him with number 3.
Number 3 on the power rankings list for this week is the duo of Andy and Lauren Strucker.
Yes, sir.
So Strucker, not Von Strucker. They just threw the Von out of there.
Yeah, they didn't explain it, but my thought, and this is kind of how I rationalize it, is the grandfather,
yes.
Reed Strucker's father. I figured he was just so paranoid about his father and his aunt that he just dropped the Von in order to separate himself a little bit from their misdeeds.
Fair enough.
That's how I rationalize in my head. There's nothing to prove that, but makes sense. I would change my name too if my relatives were up to no good. You know what I mean?
I would have took out the Strucker
and called it.
I would have probably left the Vaughn.
That's a good point.
Change it to VAUGHN Vaughn.
Damn, boys, you're over here just changing your whole identity. You don't want anybody to find you. My man over here trying to have problems with the government and whatnot. My man's like, I don't need a new social security number. I'm dyeing my hair.
Listen, man, I'm juggling like at least 3 to 4 different identities anyway.
If you say so, man. I had no idea, man. I know you're DeepBoyce. I know you're the Prime Minister of Post-Production. I always assumed you just put that on all your job applications, man.
I do, but there's like 3 or 4 that I left out. I keep them secret because I have to have my multiple identities. You know what I'm saying? Secret
Agent Boyce over here. My bad. I had no idea, man.
00 bong bong. Number 3 is Fenris, the duo of Andy and Lauren Strucker.
Yep.
Who are slowly but surely developing their, I guess, hereditary powers.
Yeah.
The powers of their grandparents. No, their great-grandparents, actually.
Their great-grandparents, right. Or their great-grandfather and their great-great-aunt.
There you go.
Yes.
Just in case anybody wants to look up the family tree.
Yes.
To make sure. But, as we saw in the last episode, the Von Strucker twins, or the Fenris twins from way back in the day, were super powerful, super evil mutants that were not to be trifled with. It was so bad that the Von Strucker grandfather, so to speak, wanted nothing to do with his relatives. So he did everything in his power to eliminate the mutant powers in the sun, thus creating a whole cataclysm that led us to this moment right now. But their powers are manifest, and not only do they have their own separate powers, but they're learning that if they hold hands, they can basically, I guess, destroy the molecular bonds or something between molecules. They can basically just annihilate anything that they can put their minds to. And right. we got 2 glimpses. Obviously, there was one where they were training inside the Mutant Underground headquarters, and they probably would have ended the show by killing everyone. So luckily their parents stopped them, and then they were about to take out the entirety of Sentinel services. But then Andy Strucker, with a very uncharacteristic move, actually used his brain to be rational and think about things.
For once, because this dude is the cult of irrationality right there.
This man is Mr. Just tear things apart.
Yeah.
But he basically stopped it, and because they were in the basement, they were in the sub-level in the garage, and they were going to destroy everything. They would have toppled everything on top of themselves. And they ended up getting caught, but it's a nice glimpse at what is to come. Who knows how powerful these guys are, these 2 siblings, and what we'll see in the future. But the way they kind of, interpreted their powers on screen was pretty dope, and it really seems like they're the ace in the hole. Of the Mutant Underground, of this like Mutant XMen team, which honestly, while they were main characters, and I kind of thought that maybe Andy was supposed to be the ace in the hole, like he was he was like the glass cannon of sorts, like just super powerful but flawed. It really seems like the 2 of them together are just like an unstoppable force once they start really figuring their powers out.
Right. I mean, that was well said, man. I mean, obviously, we've talked about this paying homage to the Von Strucker children in the comic books, the children of Baron Von Strucker, and they're powerful, man, and they're out here, we're ready to tear stuff up. And an interesting layer to it is that their powers may actually be a situation where they're sort of indoctrinated when they use them. So I wonder if there's sort of this hypnotizing, drunk on power effect when they use their powers, because it seemed like they were in a trance, and that might explain why their let's call them their relatives went off the deep end. Maybe it's because they got sort of hypnotized by this power. But I'm eager to see where it develops, man. But at number 2, DeepBoyce, we've got Esme. Okay, another character based off of a comic book character, or characters, I should say. The Stepford Cuckoos, right?
Yeah.
I literally cannot take that name seriously. Every time I'm about to say it, I'm like, that can't be what it is. But that is what it is. And I mean, she's out here pulling everybody's strings. I mean, she was over here, reading people's minds in order to sort of play to their emotions and get them to do what she wanted. And that was to free who she says are her relatives being held at a trash facility, where they are essentially going to be, I mean, I think the idea is that they're going to be made to work against mutant kind by, being brainwashed to help capture them. So, I mean, Esme is over here manipulating everybody. And I wonder if her family or relatives, quote-unquote relatives, are actually the rest of the Stepford Cuckoo. So in the comics, I mean, DeepBoyce, I'm going to let you explain it because I feel like you have a better grasp on this than I do.
Yeah.
You're more of a Marvel guy than I am in that respect.
Yeah.
So hit me with the down low.
Well, Esme is one of, I guess, maybe the leader of the Stepford Cuckoos, and they're clones of Emma Frost, who's one of the most powerful telepaths in the Marvel universe. And they're her clones, but the caveat of those characters, aside from the fact that they don't have a diamond form like Emma Frost does, they're telepaths. They're powerful telepaths in their own right, but they're really almost as powerful as Emma Frost if they're together, like within proximity. So, and they've been, on and off heroes, mutants, heroes, good guys, anti-heroes. They're usually lackeys of Emma Frost, but sometimes they've been, erstwhile allies. And, that's a good point, that it's possible that her siblings,
her relatives.
Her
I don't
relatives.
I don't know what they are to her, but
yeah. And honestly, when we were talking earlier, you mentioned, is she looking for the Hellfire Club, which I thought was also kind of interesting.
Yeah, because the Hellfire Club was mentioned by the Strucker children when they were looking into their family, and apparently, if I watched or heard right, they're the original Von Strucker terrorists were members of something called the Hellfire Club, but then they said something about the Hellfire Club getting disappearing after being defeated by the X-Men. So I'm wondering if with that Hellfire Club name drop, the Stepford Cuckoos and Esme are somehow involved with maybe a descendants of the Hellfire Club, or maybe somehow involved. I mean, we already know that Emma Frost, who the Stepford Cuckoos are clones of, has deep ties to the Hellfire Club in the comics.
I was gonna say, I kind of have a bold prediction, because I honestly didn't really think this. You brought this up to my attention. But maybe this Hellfire Club Easter egg is maybe something of things to come for season 2, possibly. And if let's say maybe the Stepford Cuckoos aren't interpreted in this show, then maybe Esme is supposed to be like a stand-in for Emma Frost. And Emma Frost was the White Queen of the Hellfire Club. She was a high-ranking member of the Hellfire Club. And maybe Esme is not all that she seems, as we saw in this episode. Maybe she is it's supposed to be a stand-in, because Emma Frost is a big X-Men character. They had her in First Class. They will probably have her in the movies. So what they're doing with The Gifted is they're taking some of those established characters, and they're taking either their descendants or other characters that are similar to them to kind of take their place within this story. So maybe it is her family. Maybe as in it's the Hellfire Club, and she was a member of that, I guess ancient organization that has been rivals of the X-Men since the beginning of the X-Men. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean I don't put it past this show to play around with the lore and do their own interpretation of the Hellfire Club if need be, man. Yeah. I mean, if you remember, a while back there was actually supposed to be a Hellfire Club TV series in development. But they Fox ultimately passed on it, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. And the development was canceled, and maybe the reason is that the Hellfire Club was folded into the Gifted, or future plans for the Gifted. So as you said, maybe a season 2 thing. It just seems like the season's sort of overcrowded as is. Maybe they introduce it in the final 4 episodes, leading to the end of the season, maybe.
And in terms of the show, it could kind of tie in narratively, because maybe they've sowed a few seeds with the Von Strucker kids, given that they're analogous to their I guess, great-grandfather, their ancestors, who were seduced, or maybe they were evil, or maybe they were seduced, or maybe they got drunk on power. And maybe we'll start to see more characters, primarily the Von Strucker kids or the Strucker kids, confronting or being part of them. Maybe they get saved not by the Mutant Underground, but by the Hellfire Club that are within this prison. And then maybe maybe Andy's like, we got to go full. It's us against the world. And maybe his sister is like, no, we got to go back with our parents in the Mutant Underground. They're fighting for good. I mean, that could be a storyline that'll develop in the future. Maybe the two, the two siblings will go up against each other, like Alex and Scott Summers did in many times. So, there's a lot of narrative possibilities there, but it's a big guess. It's a big guess. So we'll see.
Yeah, big guess. I mean, the Mutant Underground, it'd be interesting to see them have mutant opponents. Mm-hmm. I mean, the X-Men, their stereotypical opponents are the Brotherhood. Mm-hmm. But what if, this young Mutant Underground is going up against a burgeoning Hellfire Club, a resurgent Hellfire Club, one that's been revitalized by new blood, so to speak. Yeah. So it could be interesting stuff, man. I mean, I'm all down for more X-Men lore being integrated into the show. It certainly deserves to be integrated into the show. The show's pretty good. I'm glad they're not limiting it. Yeah. But anyway, on to number 1. DeepBoyce, who we got for number 1? Numero uno, holding it down this week on outfoX.
We've got straight from New Jersey, Cory Booker himself, a.k.a. Jace Turner of Sentinel Services.
He does look like Cory Booker, man. He does look like Cory Booker in like a very like general way. He sort of has the Cory Booker look going on. But Jace Turner, man, holding it down. Yeah. I mean, who did he take down this week? He got Blink, he got Dreamer, and he got the 2 Strucker kids, man.
Pretty much.
I mean, that sounds like a successful day to me, especially with Sentinel Services getting, I mean, for lack of a better word, outfoxed in many previous occasions.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be smart sometimes. It fails about 90% of the time, but hey, from time to time I could be intelligente. But yeah, man, I mean, Jace Turner, I mean, listen, he's a little bit off his rocker, you know what I mean? Dreamer messed with his head earlier in the season, and he is sort of re-experiencing his daughter's dealing with his daughter's death at the hands of mutants. So he's kind of like forcing the issue in regards to capturing the Mutant Underground and sort of subversing protocol and things like that to try and capture them. That may be the out that the Mutant Underground has, is that he sort of went against protocol to capture them. That might be their saving grace, if you will. Yeah. But at the end of the day, he was successful. He followed his instinct, and he had his his cohort there sort of down him, but he did it up, and he finally got the W after getting his ass handed to him on a number of occasions. Yeah. So number 1, man, the power rankings, man.
Jace Turner. Holding it down, man. Being the big winner in this episode.
Yes, sir,
and it was a damn good episode. And
agreed.
He was largely responsible for it.
DeepBoyce.
Yep.
It's time to shift over to the bum asses of this week, man. Uh-oh. The wiggity whack. Okay, Jack people from this episode. DeepBoyce, hit us with number 3. Your number 3 bum ass for the week.
Number 3 is Hazy's favorite character on the show. For not so obvious reasons.
She is, okay?
Dreamer.
Right? She's beautiful, all right? What can I say? I'm sorry. She's a beautiful, beautiful woman. That's all I'm saying.
Hazy's got redheads are his Achilles heel.
It's also my greatest strength, all right?
But
that's what drives me.
This show is full of just fantastic characters, and she's one of them, honestly. Because
I like her a lot.
They do.
All jokes aside, she's great.
Yeah, I mean, because the thing is, they do a good job of showing the good and the bad of these characters. There are moments where you see Dreamer vulnerable. There are moments where she kind of bends the rules to maybe get something done. But she lands a number 3 spot on the Bum Asses for this week because during the raid by Jace Turner at the power plant, and there were basically some Sentinel services operators closing in on her and the Strucker siblings. They had already gotten Blink with one of those little Sentinel octopus things. So it was basically the 3 of them, and she had figured out the code. But all of a sudden, the Strucker twins walked through the door, and she had, I counted, it's probably at least 3 to 5 minutes between her looking back.
I'm glad you said 3 to 5 minutes.
It seemed like a long time.
Over-exaggeration of the year, my man.
She had plenty of time to walk through that door and close it behind them. But no, she decided to, I don't know, play the hero, the martyr, and just lock the door on herself, even though it's not like they couldn't have gone through. Or maybe they could have. I don't know. Maybe they had the code.
She could have gone through, man. She could have gone through.
She could have made it, but the way it was shot and the way she went about it was noticeable enough to say, hey, you guys could have kept running. Was she tired? Were her calves burning? She just was like, I'm not going to run anymore?
I was thinking about this before, and I mentioned it to you, and that was a Titanic. There's no more room on the raft type situation. I'm like, there was ample time for you to get through.
Word.
Number 3 bum ass. Love Dreamer, but she had to make the list for that, man. But this person at number 2 100% deserves to be on this list, and that is the Trask security guard who blabbered like everything to Dreamer and Polaris about the Trask or power plant facility, schematics and security and whatnot. I mean, my man, like, you're literally telling them everything to strangers. I know you're trying to bag some honeys, but you gotta have some damn common sense, man. It's your job, dog.
I mean,
it's your job.
Can you blame him though? He was sitting shoulder to shoulder with some fine young ladies there.
I'll be honest with you, bro. If I was in that bar and they were talking to me, I would give them my social security number, man. All right, I'll be honest with you, but I would fully acknowledge that I'm a bum ass for that. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not a bum ass. I am.
Did you see the way Dreamer was twirling those red locks, staring to his eyes?
Bro, like I said, I almost went on Twitter and put my social security number out there to tweet at the actresses who play these lovely characters, man. That's how crazy it was, man. But still, he's a bum ass for that, man. Putting out all the information. I mean, come on, man. Yeah. Then he got by Polaris, got popped in the face. Dreamer messed with his mind. His career's over. You know what I'm saying? Jace Turner found out. It's a wrap for him. He's over.
Yeah, he's probably gonna end up in the dungeons with the mutants too. I mean,
he just might for that. Actually, that's some treasonous stuff right there. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, he should have got real. That was too good to be true.
Agreed.
We've all been in a situation like that, and hey, you got to snap out of it.
You got to snap out of it. Word, man. But DeepBoyce, on to numero 1. Somebody who actually made the power rankings for this week. DeepBoyce, hit us with the number 1 bum ass of this week and tell us why.
The number 1 bum ass is Esme, a character who was also in our power rankings, number 2 on the list for this week. But she's number 1 bum ass because despite all her, her machinations, her conniving ways in this episode, scheming, manipulating people, manipulating their minds, forced, digging into their thoughts and using it to manipulate them, giving people nightmares, preying on their insecurities and their worries for extremely selfish reasons. And I mean, she was even able to convince John Proudstar, Thunderbird, of going through with this mission, probably the most level-headed character on the team.
Yeah.
Who he straight up just said, like, listen, this is probably the riskiest thing we've ever done. And if we're going to do it, we only got this one shot and we got to make it happen. And
And
it failed.
Let's be
it
honest,
completely
they
failed.
didn't make it happen.
It did not make it happen. The worst case scenario happened. Half the team got captured, all because of Esme and her BS, her nonsense. She was playing
Ready
with
to
people's
risk it
minds.
all.
I mean, honestly, I understand. Time is of the essence, because who knows? I mean, they're gonna start experimenting on all those mutants that we saw last episode. They have in that shower or wherever that was, that little holding cell that they have them in. But like Thunderbird said, we only have one shot to do this. They're not gonna get another shot like this, and they blew it. They blew it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's all Esme's fault. And to be honest with you, I mean, one of the leaders, Dreamer, she got.
Yes.
One of their aces in the hole, Blink, she got. And the Strucker kids are arguably the mutants with the most potential, amongst the new recruits, and they got. You know what I'm saying? The Strucker parents are in disarray right now.
Yeah.
The mutant underground, I'm sure, is going to be in disarray from that loss. And, ultimately, Esme really didn't lose anything. She was over there screaming and kicking when John Sproutstar took her away. Like, no, I got to save my family. He's like, nah, you've done enough, Esme. All right, we like you, but you screwed the pooch there. But anyway, DeepBoyce, we're going to get on out here. But first, we want to hear what your power rankings are and your top 3 bonuses are this week on episode 9 of The Gifted, outfoX. Drop it in the comments below. And by all means, support the Spectacular Spoiler League by hitting the subscribe button and joining the Spectacular Spoiler League, man. We need you. Join the Legion, okay? Hit that little notification button, that little bell icon next to the subscribe button to turn on notifications and be up to date with the latest and greatest coming from the Spectacular Spoiler League. Drop us a like on the video if you like anything you heard. We need to get this video out there, and your likes help us do that. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.